So often as leaders, we have good intentions, but our impact is not what we want. Have you ever had a conversation that didn't turn out the way you expected, or made a decision that didn't go the way you thought? Our job as leaders is to create an environment where people want to give their best effort, where they want to be engaged, where they want to do their best work. If your relationships and your team is not performing at the level that you want, who can we really blame? We get to look in the mirror. Think about the challenges that you have to deal with right now, and staying positive under pressure is a challenge. Some of us, like me, we get defensive, or we get assertive, or some of us actually shut down and avoid conflict. Some of us have to be right. We get really stubborn. Some of us overtalk and just become overselling. And these behaviors can prevent us from having the results that we want.
What we miss. It's what we miss. What are some examples of things that we miss in our business? Einstein. We miss Einstein. Yes, we do. Oh, thank you. I miss Einstein. I wish he was back. What else? Say that again. Lead opportunities. You said opportunities. What about relationships? What about change? We miss the change that's going on around us. We miss relationships in our lives. So how many of you are so hard driving, you got to close the deal, you got to do stuff, that you've got people that are all around you that are wanting to be mentored, that are wanting to be helped, but you're so focused on the task that they're getting left behind?
So often in our world today, as leaders, we judge the world by a double standard. We judge ourselves as having good intentions. I don't have an intention to drive my kids away from me in my relationship with them. I love them. But that doesn't matter, because your intentions and my intentions don't matter. What matters is our impact. What matters is how we make people feel. What matters is the reservoir of resonance that we're creating on our teams that create that sustainability. Not what you have in your heart or your head of what you intend to do, but what comes out of your mouth and how you behave in those moments of tension and pressure. That's what we remember about the exceptional people in our lives, is how they make us feel. And here is your own research to prove it. I want you to think about if your team were to list all of your characteristics, what would they list? Think about how we judge ourselves. I mean, do you wake up in the morning and be honest? Do you say, oh, thank you for making me so emotionally intelligent? Or do you think about how smart you are? Do you put the letters behind your name and on your resume? You worry about what people think, how smart you are. When you have conversations and arguments, are you worrying about being right? Don't you compare yourself to others by, have you ever had the right fight where you knew you were right and you're having an argument with someone else and they know they're right and no one's getting anywhere? That's what's going on in our culture right now, is everybody wants to be right. We're so busy being right that, again, we're not connecting. And what happens to us under pressure is this is where our reputations as leaders are made. I love this saying by the Roman Epicurus: skillful pilots gain their reputations from storms and tempests. Well, we're definitely in storms and tempests. How are you showing up?
Sometimes is it important to be coercive? Yes, when the house is on fire, everybody out of the house. This is not time where we got to take a vote. But are there times when we have to be affiliative to get people's buy-in? Are there times when we have democratic approach? Yes. Are there times when we get to set the pace and be that leader? Yes. Are there times when we get to coach and mentor people? Yes. Problem is, some of us are really good at being authoritative, at being aggressive. And that's good if the situation calls for it. So Kevin, what would happen if you golfed every situation with your putter?
It would be a really rough round.
Might improve my game. But you've got to be able to change your approach. You've got to use a different tool for the different situation. So affiliative, bringing other people, other departments in to whatever it is that you're doing and coming up with brainstorming, you need to understand how what you're doing is impacting them. There's a time to be affiliative, but not all the time. What if we're democratic? Is that okay? Sometimes. But if we ran our business that way all the time, that'd be a problem, wouldn't it? What about when you need to change that approach to get a different result? Are you able to do that?
Why do sometimes your conversations and decisions don't turn out the way you intend? Because under pressure, we are cognitively impaired. That's the neuroscience. Anybody can be a good leader when things are going well. When I took over that company and things were going poorly, I was under a tremendous amount of strain and stress, and I didn't always handle it the best way. In 2016, my son, Josh, with the socks that I was telling you about, called me. He said, Dad, he was just taking my other son, Sam, to his friend's house, and he was coming home. He said, Dad, I got into an accident. I said, are you okay? He said, yes. I said, where are you? He was literally a stone's throw from our house, right around the corner. He was changing the music on his phone, and he drove off the road. Luckily, there was nobody on the sidewalk, and he tried to correct it, and he ran into this tree, poor tree. The tree is still there. It lived. The car did not. And I said, I'll be right there. And I got to Josh, and he was shaking. He was so upset. And I gave him a hug, and I said, it's okay. You can replace the car. And I got in the passenger side because I couldn't get in the driver's side. Calling the insurance company, and the neighbors are driving by. Hey, can we help you? Nope, got it under control. Move along. And when my oldest daughter, Emily, heard about this, she was living in Texas at the time. She called my wife, Jana. She said, I just heard what happened. Is Josh okay? What did Dad do? And she was worried about Josh and how I might have handled that, because 10 years earlier, when she got in an accident, it wasn't as a positive. I didn't yell at her, but she told me when I came to the scene, I was so focused on the task, I didn't talk to her. And she was distraught. I want to be a better father. I want to be a better leader, a better husband. I want to have a better impact with the people in my life. That's why I started working on this. I am so grateful that you gave me the time to talk to you. And I know that what happens as leaders is that we have to make decisions every day, hundreds of them. And under pressure, what happens is the emotional brain wants to keep us stuck in the past, that habit or that pattern that we've developed that is preventing us from having the results or the relationships, just focusing on tasks. When something happens, when Danny comes, knocks on your door and says, hey, can I talk to you about something I'm concerned about? When I'm clearly thinking, I'm thinking about what is the impact I'm going to have? How will I say this in a way that will encourage him and motivate him? How will I be able to treat my son so that he knows that I love him? How can I treat my wife, Jana, better? That moment is always in the present. You have a choice to be controlled by your emotions and your good intentions versus thinking about the impact and choosing to behave. You have positive intentions. Those are good, but it's your behavior and being mindful, being aware that actually gets that impact and develops that trust. That's what leadership is all about, is creating an impact that moves the organization, moves your project forward. These skills that I'm telling you can help you to match your good intentions with your impact. Close that gap by becoming aware of how you show up under pressure. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so grateful that we had some time this afternoon. I hope you have some questions, Marion. I know we have an extra 5 minutes, and I'd love to be able to answer a few if we have some.
Yeah, I'd like to first start out saying that the audience overwhelmingly has said thank you for being authentic and showing real raw emotion, especially when it came to your kids. Everybody really appreciates it. I got goosebumps just talking about it. So you're amazing. Thank you, Spencer.